Let me guess, you've got some money saved. Not rich, not broke, just enough to feel weird about it. You check your bank account more than you should. You still hesitate before buying anything over, say, $50. You know you're doing better than before, but your life doesn't actually feel that different. And here's the most frustrating part. You thought that once you hit a certain number, $10,000, $25,000, $50,000, you'd finally feel calm. But instead, your brain just found new things to worry about. If that sounds uncomfortably accurate, yeah, this video is for you. My name is Nick, and I spend way too much time thinking about how money messes with our brains. If you're someone who's saving, trying to get ahead, doing the right things, but still feels mentally stuck around money, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Because today we're talking about why the first $50,000 doesn't change your life, but it completely rewires how you think. And once you understand this, money gets a lot easier to control. Here's the thing. Most people grow up believing money works like a finish line. You struggle, you save, you hit a number, and then, boom, peace. But that's not how it works, not even close. In fact, the first $50,000 is usually the most mentally confusing stage of wealth building, because it's the point where money stops being a survival tool and starts becoming a psychological object. And nobody prepares you for that. Let's ground this in reality for a second. According to the Federal Reserve, nearly 40% of adults can't cover a $400 emergency without borrowing, and over 60% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, even at decent incomes. So if you've managed to save $50,000, cash, investments, net worth, any combination, you are objectively ahead of the majority. That's not motivational fluff. That's math. But here's what most people don't realize. $50,000 doesn't buy you freedom. It buys you optional thinking, and that's where everything changes. Before this point, money is loud. Every decision is reactive. You think in questions like, can I afford this? What if something goes wrong? How long until my next paycheck? Your brain is optimized for short-term threat management, and neurologically that matters. Studies in behavioral psychology show that scarcity, whether real or perceived, reduces cognitive bandwidth. You literally have less mental energy to plan long-term. So when people say, just invest, or just start a business, it feels insulting because your brain is busy keeping the lights on. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Once you cross roughly $50,000 in savings or net worth, something subtle happens. Money stops screaming. You're no longer one mistake away from disaster. A flat tire doesn't feel like a crisis. A slow month doesn't destroy you emotionally. But instead of relief, most people feel discomfort. Why? Because for the first time, you have something to lose. Before, the risk was not having money. Now, the risk is losing money. And psychologically, loss hurts about twice as much as gain feels good. That's not an opinion. That's loss aversion, a core concept in behavioral economics. So ironically, the moment you become more secure, you often become more cautious, not less. This is why people hoard cash instead of investing. Overthink every financial decision, freeze instead of making moves. They didn't get lazier. Their brain just switched modes. Let's kill another myth. $50,000 doesn't change your lifestyle because it's not supposed to. Do the math. Even if you invested $50,000 and earned a solid 8% annually, that's $4,000 per year. That's $333 per month. Nice, but not life-changing. So if you're waiting to feel rich at this stage, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. This phase isn't about lifestyle upgrades. It's about mental upgrades. Here's what quietly improves, though. You negotiate differently. You say no more often. You don't cling to bad jobs as tightly. Not because you're rich, but because you're not desperate. And desperation is expensive. People take bad deals, bad jobs, and bad relationships because they need certainty more than growth. $50,000 buys you time, and time changes behavior. Okay, Nick, if $50,000 doesn't change my life, why does everyone obsess over it? Great question. Because it's the first number that proves something incredibly important. You can accumulate. not earn, not hustle. Accumulate. That identity shift from consumer to builder is massive. And once that switch flips, your entire financial trajectory changes. The first $50,000 isn't meant to be protected. It's meant to be deployed intelligently, not recklessly, not emotionally, strategically. This is the stage where investing matters more than saving, skills matter more than budgeting. Leverage matters more than discipline. But your brain still thinks like it's broke. And that mismatch creates anxiety. Let me give you something practical. Here's how you should think once you hit this phase. 1. Separate safety from growth. Keep a true emergency fund, maybe $10,000 to $15,000. Everything else needs a job. 2. Expect volatility. Loss doesn't mean failure, it means exposure. 3. Invest in asymmetry skills, businesses, assets with upside, not just savings accounts. 4. Zoom out, stop checking balances daily, think in years. 5. Upgrade your inputs. What you read, who you listen to, what problems you study. This is the last stage where mistakes are affordable. You're not risking everything, but you're finally in the game. That combination is powerful. You can experiment, you can learn, you can compound. And once your brain adapts to this level, the next ones come faster. The real goal is becoming the kind of person who can rebuild $50,000. Because once you have that skill set, the number stops mattering. Money becomes a tool, not a source of stress. Look, if you're in this stage right now, congrats. Seriously. You've done something most people never do, but don't let comfort slow you down. Let clarity speed you up. Use this phase to rewire how you think about risk, growth, and time. Because the first $50,000 doesn't change your life. It changes you, and that's way more valuable. If this video helped you think differently about money, hit the thumbs up, subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one.